Welcome to a journey through time, a journey that will uncover the remarkable story of how Switzerland, the land of chocolate, neutrality, and breathtaking scenery, came to be. When we think of Switzerland today, images of peace, stability, and prosperity come to mind. But the Switzerland we know didn't emerge overnight. It was forged over centuries, through struggles, alliances, and an unyielding spirit of independence. In this video, we'll explore the captivating history of Switzerland, from its early days as a land of Celtic tribes to its rise as a unified neutral nation. The land we now call Switzerland was once home to the Helvetic Celts, a powerful and influential Celtic tribe. These people lived in what we now know as the Swiss Plateau, thriving on agriculture and trade. They were fierce warriors, but they were also skilled artisans, leaving behind a legacy of intricate metalwork and fortifications. However, the autonomy of the Helvetic Celts was short-lived. In 58 BC, they encountered a formidable adversary, Julius Caesar and his Roman legions. After a series of battles, the Helvetic Celts were defeated, and the region was absorbed into the Roman Empire. The Romans brought with them new technologies, roads, and a centralized administration, transforming the region into a vital part of their empire. But Roman rule, as powerful as it was, would not last forever. As the empire began to crumble, so too did its hold over the territories it had conquered. The Swiss lands would soon be caught in the crossfire of a new wave of invaders. As the Roman Empire fell into decline, Germanic tribes swept across Europe, filling the power vacuum left behind. In Switzerland, the Alemanni and Burgundians were among the most prominent of these tribes. They established their own kingdoms, blending their culture with the remnants of Roman civilization. By the 9th century, these lands had become part of Charlemagne's vast Carolingian Empire. Upon Charlemagne's death, his empire was divided among his heirs, leading to the creation of the Holy Roman Empire, a complex and loosely connected collection of territories that would dominate Central Europe for centuries. It was within the framework of the Holy Roman Empire that the first seeds of the Swiss Confederation were sown. As the empire struggled with internal conflicts and external threats, the people of the Swiss Cantons began to seek more autonomy and security. The year was 1291, and Europe was a land of turmoil. In this volatile environment, 3 small cantons, Uri, Schwyz, and Unterwalden, decided to take a bold step. They formed an alliance, agreeing to work together to protect their common interests, particularly their independence from external powers. This alliance was formalized in the Federal Charter of 1291, a document that many historians consider the foundation of the Swiss Confederation. The charter was simple but powerful, laying out the principles of mutual defense and cooperation that would guide the Swiss people for centuries to come. The old Swiss Confederacy, as it came to be known, was not just a political arrangement, it was a statement of defiance against the forces that sought to control them. This small, mountainous region was beginning to assert its identity on the world stage. The success of the old Swiss Confederacy soon attracted the attention of neighboring regions. By the 14th century, the Confederacy had grown to include additional cantons, such as Lucerne, Zurich, and Bern. This period of expansion wasn't just about adding new members, it was about creating a network of cities and rural communities that shared a common purpose. But with growth came challenges. The Confederacy's expansion alarmed powerful neighbors, particularly the Austrian Habsburgs. The Habsburgs, who controlled vast territories in Europe, saw the rising Swiss Confederacy as a direct threat to their influence. This tension would soon lead to a series of conflicts that would test the resolve of the Swiss people. One of the most notable of these conflicts was the Battle of Morgarten in 1315, where a small Swiss force defeated a much larger Austrian army. This victory, against all odds, cemented the reputation of the Swiss as fierce and determined fighters. Over the next few decades, the Swiss would engage in several more battles with the Habsburgs, each time emerging victorious and further solidifying their independence. The 15th century brought one of the most significant turning points in Swiss history, the Swabian War of 1499. This conflict was the culmination of decades of tension between the Swiss Confederacy and the Habsburg-controlled Swabian League. It was a brutal war, fought over control of territory and the desire for independence. The Swiss, once again, demonstrated their military prowess. Despite being outnumbered, they inflicted a decisive defeat on the Swabian forces, leading to the Treaty of Basel. This treaty effectively granted the Swiss Confederacy de facto independence from the Holy Roman Empire. Although they remained nominally part of the empire, the Swiss were now free to govern themselves without interference. This newfound autonomy allowed the Swiss to focus on internal consolidation and further expansion, but it also set the stage for future conflicts, both internal and external. The 16th century was a time of religious upheaval across Europe, and Switzerland was no exception. The Protestant Reformation, sparked by Martin Luther in Germany, quickly spread to Switzerland, where figures like Ulrich Zwingli and John Calvin became leading voices of the movement. The Reformation brought significant changes to Swiss society, but it also created deep divisions. Some cantons embraced Protestantism, while others remained staunchly Catholic. These religious differences led to a series of internal conflicts known as the Wars of Kappel and the Wars of Villmergen. Despite the violence, the Swiss Confederacy managed to hold together. The shared desire for independence and mutual protection outweighed the religious rifts. By the mid-17th century, with the signing of the Treaty of Westphalia, the Swiss Confederacy was officially recognized as an independent entity free from the Holy Roman Empire. The 18th century brought new challenges to Switzerland. As the French Revolution spread across Europe, it brought with it the forces of change and the French army. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte's troops invaded Switzerland, bringing an end to the Swiss Confederacy as it had existed for centuries. In its place, the French established the Helvetic Republic, a centralized state modeled after revolutionary France. For many Swiss, this was a period of great turmoil and resentment. The Helvetic Republic stripped the cantons of their autonomy, imposed new laws, and conscripted Swiss soldiers into the French army. However, the Helvetic Republic was short-lived. By 1803, Napoleon realized that the Swiss were ungovernable under a centralized system. He issued the Act of Mediation, which restored much of the old Confederate system, albeit under French influence. The defeat of Napoleon in 1815 brought an end to his domination of Europe and a new era for Switzerland. At the Congress of Vienna, where Europe's powers redrew the map of the continent, Switzerland's status was a key issue. The diplomats at Vienna recognized the strategic importance of Switzerland's location and its unique position as a buffer state between powerful neighbors. As a result, they declared Switzerland a permanently neutral state, a status that remains to this day. Additionally, the Congress of Vienna restored the Swiss Confederacy, expanded its borders, and admitted new cantons such as Valais, Neuchâtel, and Geneva. This marked the beginning of modern Switzerland, a country that would soon undergo further transformation. The 19th century brought about significant changes in the political landscape of Switzerland. The country, still a loose confederation of cantons, faced increasing internal tensions. The growing divide between the conservative, Catholic cantons and the liberal Protestant ones threatened to tear the Confederacy apart. These tensions erupted into the Swiss Civil War, also known as the Sonderbund War, in 1847. The war was brief but decisive. The Protestant cantons, advocating for a stronger, more centralized federal government, emerged victorious. In 1848, a new Swiss constitution was drafted, creating a federal state with a central government, while still preserving a high degree of autonomy for the cantons. This constitution, inspired in part by the United States, established Switzerland as a modern federal republic. It was a turning point in Swiss history, laying the foundation for the stable and prosperous nation we know today. The 20th century saw Switzerland navigating some of the most turbulent times in modern history. During both world wars, Switzerland maintained its policy of neutrality, carefully balancing its position in a war-torn Europe. This neutrality, while controversial at times, allowed Switzerland to avoid the devastation that engulfed much of the continent. Post-war Switzerland became a symbol of peace and stability, hosting international organizations like the Red Cross and later the United Nations. Although Switzerland chose not to join the European Union, it maintains close ties with its neighbors and is an integral part of the global economy.